Go ahead, Rich.
Nice segue. All right. Well, good. Glad everybody's here tonight. Hey, just as a note, we get invitations from other clubs for some of their presentations, and I know Mark sends them out to everybody. Look into them, and if you're not doing anything, hop onto one of those because some of them are very, very good, especially last night. You know, Dave DeRoche, the judge and speaker, he did a presentation that was just so far and away phenomenal. He is such a great speaker. He's got a way about him that's very easygoing. And I mean, a few of us were there, and I think we all agree he was great. But when you see one of those come up, if you're not doing anything,
that particular presentation, that was from the Intercommunity Club, and they send me the information, and I send that out to the entire club. And I was going to say it's a shame that there was only 3 of us there, 4 of us, I think, there, because everybody gets it. They just didn't partake.
Everybody stay for the judging?
No,
No.
I stayed.
It ran very late. I didn't love the fact that they had a competition after that. But he went at least an hour and a half.
Yes.
And so
I'm just happy they didn't have the competition before his talk.
I'm sorry?
I'm just happy they didn't have the competition before his talk.
Oh, that's right. Then you would have had to sit there.
I understand that you were.
But yeah, I don't know what else you could do but send everybody the information.
But don't just overlook it and pass by it. Pretty much every month there's going to be one. We're hosting one in June, but between now and then some of the other clubs are doing it. So be aware of them and jump on them. If you don't like it, you can always leave, but check them out because they're pretty quality speakers. All right. Now tonight we're going to talk about panoramas, and I think Mark's going to mute everybody soon, but just wave a hand if you've taken panoramas. So most of you have never taken a panorama.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, Rich. Could I interrupt for 1 minute? Mark, are you recording this?
Yes, I am. The only time I'm not going to be recording is when Rich goes to a YouTube.
Oh, okay, because Ed asked me and I forgot to answer.
Right.
Thank you, sorry.
Okay. When I used to think about panoramas, I think of something that's going to cover a whole long area and mostly a video. Never thought of taking them. But then I got to taking a couple of them with just a different perspective because I'd been to places, and if you travel and you go to really nice national parks or something like that, you look out at it, it's beautiful, and you want to take a picture of it, and you get this much. And it just doesn't look good when you take the picture. That's when you might want to think about taking a panorama. And even if you're not going to use a full extent of a real wide open shot like the one behind me, if you just want it to include more in the scene than you have, think about doing a panorama. And it is so simple and so easy with today's software. Think about trying it. So that's what we're going to do tonight. And from the show of hands, not many of you have ever done it. So let's get into the program. Do I have to hit share screen, Mark?
Yes, you do. You're all set.
Ooh, what's that? Okay. Here we go. Shooting panoramas.
I'll just ask Rich. Excuse me, Rich, could I ask a question?
Sure.
Diana is having trouble getting in. Will you be able to let her in? I'll send her a second link.
That would be Mark.
Okay, Mark then.
You better stop sharing for a minute then, because I won't see it.
All right, I'm sorry.
Do I pause it or I have to get out of it?
Just stop sharing. Yeah, just stop sharing. You have to get out of it.
Okay.
We had this problem before where I couldn't see people wanting to get in, and that's because
All right. You know.
Back to sharing. We're going back to shooting panoramas. And the demonstration later on is going to be using Photoshop elements. And if you use regular Photoshop, it's a little bit different, which I'll touch on. Marv, I don't know. I can't help you on yours because I don't know anything about that, but we'll have to work around it. At any rate, shooting panoramas.
Sorry.
What happened?
Phone.
Okay. Has there ever been a camera that makes panoramas? Well, there are now. A lot of the cameras do. I think Sony may have been the first one to include it, but probably all the Nikons and Canons have some sort of panorama mode. But that's not what I'm asking about. Has there one in the past? Have you ever heard of anyone, or do you think there was ever one? Well, there was. And it was around 1992. Kodak made the Fun Saver Panoramic 35. Remember those?
Yep.
Remember
Yeah.
when they came out? They were the hit of the century. And remember the cameras in a box like those? Well, the trick was that Kodak really didn't make a panoramic camera, and it didn't take panoramic photos. What it did is, let's see, can you see me up in the corner? How do I get back to me? At any rate, what they did, your sensor in your camera looks something like this. Where are we? How about, there you go. Can you see me?
Yeah.
Okay, your camera looks something like this, the 35 millimeter. All they did was took that and masked it. Watch what's happening to my hand. And they masked it so it was more like a smaller, longer rectangle. So the negative was still the same, but it was essentially cropped. And that was their panoramic. So it was really a faux or fake panorama. Now I'll show you how to do that. You start with a normal shot. And here's a nice picture of a marina. Anybody know where that is? Anybody been to Israel?
Yeah.
If you go on a tour in Israel, they almost all go to Eilat. That's the resort area all the way in the south, across from Egypt. And this was from Eilat. At any rate, this is a nice picture of it. You put it into your editing software and crop it from the top and bottom. Just move it down there, hit enter, and this is what you end up with when you apply the crop, and voila, you have a faux panorama. Now it looks like a panorama. And if you like that, if you do it, you go to save, save as, name it, and save it. Now, just a little hint, when I make a panorama, I put pano in the name, just so you know I know it's a panorama. And that's your before and after picture.
Wow.
It's the same picture. Nothing's different. It's just essentially been cropped, and it makes it look like it's longer. So that, folks, is the lesson on panoramas tonight. Thanks for coming. And don't forget to tip your waiter. And if there's no questions, good night. Okay. Now, I don't get paid if we don't do a real panorama. So here's how we're going to create it. And we're going to have a short 7-minute video. And let me turn that. Uh-oh. How do I?
go back to sharing.
Okay, now we're going to go to, where'd it go?
You stopped sharing.
Okay, I got to find, in preparation for this, I watched about 20 videos on panoramas, and that was, believe it or not, the best one, the easiest one to follow. And as I watched it with you, I put myself in the place of never doing it before. Could I follow him? And do you find them a little confusing and difficult? It is so much easier, and we're going to go through it and we'll show you. So let me get back to here. Shoot. Let me go back to sharing. We'll get back to here. Okay, we're back in the program. Okay, so when you're shooting panoramas, you're taking photos specifically for it. Here's a few things to think about when you're snapping away. You should use a tripod. And all of these things that we're doing are going to make it easier for you when you're finished and you put it into the post-processing to put it together. You could sure stand there and hold it and take your pictures and move, but it makes it a little bit harder for the program to work, and it causes you to have to do more things to clean it up. If you do all of this in preparation, it's 90% of the job. So using a tripod certainly helps. If you have one, use it. If you don't have one, borrow one, think about buying one. But it makes life easier. Now, he was shooting in landscape mode, in horizontal, and he had mentioned that you could shoot in vertical. Almost everybody will tell you use vertical for a number of reasons. The first one, when you're doing a panorama, you can take as many pictures as you want. There's no limit to the number that you could put in there. So if you're using it in horizontal mode, you'll be using less, but it's not necessary, because when you shoot in vertical, it's a rectangular shot and you're limited in the top in the sky area and in the ground area. If you turn the camera on its side, so it's vertical, you get more of the upper and lower and you can make a better frame. The other advantage is the more pictures you put in, the higher the resolution and the more pixels, and the quality is going to be better. So just make it a habit of shooting in vertical. Now, when you're doing a series of pictures, there's a little hint for you to use a marker to show where your series begins and where it ends. One of the recommendations at the end is, once you've finished, go through and shoot the pictures again for your pano, just for whatever reason, to have a second one. And when you open up your picture file, you're going to see a load of pictures. You're not going to know where your series starts, where it ends, and you'll be squinting and looking at it. So the little hint is, if you put a little picture marker at the beginning and the end, which I'll show you later when we go to it, how it makes it easier. Doing a pano, shoot multiple shots. 5 to 9 pictures makes a wonderful pano. 2 or 3 or 4 doesn't really do you justice. And some people shoot 12, 15 of them. There's really no limit. Okay. Now, when you're setting up for your picture, however you do it, aperture preferred, shutter preferred, auto, whatever it is, get your settings for the picture. You saw him looking at the light and the dark and finding what the right exposure should be. Your shutter speed, it can be anywhere. It could be 100, 200. That's not critical because nothing's moving and you're on a tripod. But you want to get your aperture. It's always good to shoot at the sweet spot, which is somewhere between f8, f11. Even though it's a long distance shot, the tendency is to put it at f32, so you'll get a full depth of field. If you go to 8 or 11, you'll get enough depth of field to get everything in your picture, and you'll get the better quality picture. So find out what it is and your focus. When everything is ready, that's when you stop, and take your camera off auto, put it on manual for all settings, the shutter speed, the aperture, the focus. And if you use auto ISO, you can leave that. But if you really want to do it right, set it to ISO 100 or 200 and leave it that way. The reason you're shooting it manual, as you're moving through a scene, you're going to get different lighting. Hopefully it's not drastically different. If it's drastically different, you're going to have some problems, but it will be changing. If you're on any auto mode, the camera is going to be changing the settings. You don't want that. You want the same setting for every shot. It makes it much easier in post-processing. So don't forget to switch it to manual and everything is locked in. Okay, everybody got that? Okay. Now, he had mentioned overlapping, and he was saying using reference points and doing all of that. Well, just make sure you include some of what was in the first shot in the second one, some of the second one in the third, and so on and so on. That way you have overlapping bits that Photoshop can use to align the image.
Yeah.
Usually a 1/3 overlap works well. You get enough of the picture of the image that Photoshop can find it and match it up. Right? Keeping the lighting or the exposure consistent. Well, one way you're doing that is by leaving it on manual. But early on, before you set it, remember you pan through your whole scene looking at for the right exposure. Try to find one that is, maybe in the middle or average, or, well, whichever makes the best picture. So keep looking at the brightest portion and focus on that and make it that, because you can always bring up the shadows later on. All right. Now, to make sure the angles are the same, this drives Photoshop crazy when the angles are different. To do that, you need to make sure that the camera is level, but you also have to make sure that the tripod is level.
Mhm.
Now, a lot of the tripods have a little built-in level in it. It's usually on top of one of the legs. And, that would come into play if you're not on a level surface. If you're on some kind of a hill or incline, your tripod is not going to be level. You want to make sure it is. So some of the legs will be shorter than the others, but just to make it, if you have a level, use it. If not, try to do the best you can to make it level. That's regardless of the camera, because once you put the camera on top, you have to make sure that the head is level too. And a lot of cameras now, Canons have it and Nikons have it. I don't know every model, but a lot of the models have an app in it that has a built-in level, that when you put it on live view, you'll have a level in the back screen and you can make sure that your camera's level. So once everything is level, you're good to go. And then when you're finished, do a backup set. And that's very easy because you have everything already set. So just do a marker, start and take the whole series over again, and you're done. Very easy. Now, once you've taken those pictures, you're going to take it home, put it in your computer, and you're going to go to Photoshop Elements we're going to use. And I'm going to go through this first just on the screen. If you're taking notes, you don't have to because this is being recorded. But if you are, this is the steps you're going to take. You open the program, go to File, Open, and you open the series. Then they'll all pop up on your screen as your open files. Go up to the top where it's Enhance, Photo Merge, and then you're going to get different options. Pick Photo Merge Panorama. Okay. Now they'll ask you if you want to select auto, and then add the open files. Easy so far? Yes. Okay. For now, only click blend images together and click OK, and then go take a break. This is a time when you can go to the bathroom if you need to, go make a cup of tea, because it takes a little while to do this. And the more images you have, more images that you have. Is that me or
I don't
somebody's
know.
phone?
No, I'm getting a robocall here, Rich. I'm not answering.
Okay, maybe mute then.
Oh, who is that? Who's got the call?
Artie,
Artie,
I'm gonna mute Artie.
maybe mute everybody for a
story of my life.
while. Canceled
You
out.
know what? I'm gonna mute all, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring Rich back up.
Okay. Okay. Then it's going to ask you if you'd like Photoshop to fill the edges. Now, what this will do, when you see the picture come up, you're going to see around the edges, there's blank spots and open spots. You can not have Photoshop fill the edges, and you can do it by cropping or doing whatever you want to do. But the fast, easy way is to let Photoshop do it for you. So click yes, and then go take another break or take a nap or whatever, because that takes a few minutes. Then your finished picture pops up. Go to layer and flatten the image. And you will get a picture that looks like this. That's your finished panorama. Shows your sections underneath. And if you wanted to do any other adjustments for contrast or lighting or whatever, this is where you would do it. And when you're finished, you name it and put Pano in the name just to make it easier, and then save it. And you're done. And you made a nice panorama, which makes for nice pictures for your wall or wherever you want to do with them. All right. If you use Lightroom, I think someone did, there's a video that shows an easier, faster way to make panoramas, and that's the link to it. I'll leave that up there for a second or two. But again, you can pull up this program and pick it off of there, or we can send it to you. Okay. Okay, let's get out of this. And okay, now I'm going to open up. Where is it? Why is all this on here again? I want Photoshop Elements. Okay. Are we sharing?
No,
How do I get back on there? What do I?
same way you shared before should work fine.
This isn't it. This is. Where is it? You're
You
not
have
seeing
your-
it.
I have your screen. Bring up elements.
You seeing me now?
I see elements now.
Okay, that's where we're good. Okay, we're good to go. Get this out of here. All right. So remember, the thing that we do is we're going to open first to get your pictures. Does this screen look familiar to everybody when you go into your elements? Yes? Good. Okay, so we're going to open. Find your pictures. And where are they? Come on. Okay. Okay. Here's my files. You all see this? Now, this is the marker I was talking about. For my first picture, it's this one up here. Shows where I start. And here's the pictures I took. And the last picture is here. Then I did a second round, starting here, went to here, to here. This is probably a third round. So it's very easy for me to pick the set of pictures that I want. If I didn't have the fingers in here, they all kind of look alike. So do that, or do 1 and 2, or anything you want to do, just so you know where they start. So I don't want this in our pano. I want this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, that one, that one, this one. Oh, geez. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. This one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. Okay, so we picked them and we open them. And they open up in Photoshop. You're familiar with all of this. So we have all 8 of them. Now we go up here to enhance. That's where Photoshop is. Photo merge. And we click photo merge and choose panorama. Now for you Photoshop users, they did a great job of hiding this. You have to go into File and Automate. And under Automate, it's in there. I have no idea why, but it is. All right, so now in Photo Merge, it gives you different views. It's hard to see, but this is auto. They have perspective, vertical, spherical, cylindrical, collage, and reposition. I don't know when we need to use those, but for now, let's just do normal. Over here, it says open, add open files. And there they are. And we click OK. Now, go take a break. This will take a little bit. It's working. While it's doing it, if you look at my pictures down below, you could see how I overlapped about a third on each picture. So it's easy for Photoshop to find the dividing lines and blend them. Okay, now this is what they've come up with. Now you could take this into Photoshop and start cropping the bottom out and the top out and the left side to make it look like a complete picture, or we can let Photoshop do it. Doing this, you'll see, I just took these pictures. Actually, I took them yesterday. I wanted to find a nice field with a nice view or something, and there wasn't too much, and it was after the rain. But so it's not a very exciting panorama, but it is over a pretty broad span, and it just to show you how you can do it and what it comes out like. I suspect that the more area it has to fill, it takes a little bit longer. But it's still faster than us trying to do it ourselves. I think it's finished.
Wow.
Not bad, huh? And what you see, even though it's up and down, that's not the curvature of the lens, because you see the horizon is pretty straight. It was just a hilly area that we photographed. But there you are. That's all there is to it. Now, I had all good settings, the proper settings. So there's nothing pretty much else that needs to be done. But if I needed to edit, enhance it, or contrast or whatever, this is where you do it. And once you're finished with it, you go to File, name it, and save it. And there you are. Or if you want to put a stroke around it, you do all of those things in it.
Rich, can you hear me?
I hear you.
Yeah, I think just at the top, the tree, it seems to have turned it around the wrong way. The branches up at the very top center. I think you just have to turn that one around.
Huh. Why would it do that? Maybe it did it.
Because branches grow in so many different directions.
Yeah. I don't remember clouds being in front of the tree either. In fact, I'm sure there weren't clouds in front of the tree. So it may not have done it exactly right. But at any rate, that's the idea of it, and how easy it is. That if you do proper preparation, let Photoshop do the work for you.
Pretty
All
neat.
right. And go to File, Save As, give it a name, and You remember it asks you to how to save it. This is as a Photoshop file, which means you can go back in and edit it. But if you want to save it as a JPEG, drop down box, go down here. If you're a lover of TIFFs, which in my mind, TIFF is almost identical to the PSDs, but you go to JPEG and save it. But we're going to call it, what do we call it? Field Pano. And there you go. You're all saved and you're done. Okay, Mark, if you want to turn everybody's mics on, unmute them, we can take any questions or comments.
Hey, hold on. Let's see who's the only one person here, Art, has got to unmute himself. I think
Darren is still
hold on.
muted.
Got a few people here. Steve, would you like to unmute yourself?
Okay, I'm back.
Am I on?
Yeah, but where is raised hand? Anybody hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you. I'm just
So
raising
where's
my
raised
hand.
hand?
It's
Then
not
we
here.
have to go back to,
It is not here.
yeah, but it's a different,
Yeah, we're still on Rich's home screen.
Yeah, but
right, we have to go back to,
Participants, maybe it's under participants.
No,
oh, here it is,
Back
wait
to
a
the
second,
meeting
participants, no, yeah, okay, sorry. No,
No, Rich has to
Rich
do
has
that.
to unshare.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Rich.
There you go.
That's it.
Okay.
Rich, I have a question.
My
Sure.
video audio, can you hear me now?
Yes.
No.
That's, thank you.
We can see the top of your head too. It's unusual.
Well, you're lucky
Where
I'm not
is
the
raised
headless
hand?
horseman, then you'd really be in trouble.
Walter, if you go to, you see where the microphone icon
I
is?
did. I was just, you could hear me.
Of course we can hear you.
I
Well,
don't see where
barely.
raised hand is.
We can barely hear you. If you go into that little arrow and click it, and you go to audio settings, there's a slider there that says output. I think if you increase that, we'll be able to hear you.
Is that any better?
Oh my God, much better.
Okay.
Too loud, lower it.
I'm running for office in Stonebridge, folks.
Rich, I have
Okay,
a
sure.
question. You know, in the group of pictures you took in the first place, the first group, you took a large assortment. You had 3 different sections of maybe 8 or 9 pictures. And then when you went to make your panorama, you chose some pictures from each group. Now, when the guy had his video, he was just taking the 5 or 6 pictures of the panorama that he decided to take.
Mhm.
So which is the better way to do that?
What happened when I was choosing them? I was holding down control too long to select them and then they copied them.
Yeah.
So if you
the
looked at that
drawing
pile,
thing- Oh, I see.
you'd see Pano 2 and then Pano 2 copy. So I had to pick and choose out of those which ones. But it was the original 8 that I took.
Okay, I see.
All right, Rich,
Yeah.
when you process, and you start using Nick or any of the filters, dodging, burning, whatever you're going to do, how does it affect the fact that you've merged a number of photographs?
It doesn't, because what you're working on is a merged picture. They're not separate pictures anymore.
So it's basically one photograph now.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Rich, that's why you lost those branches. Because what happened was you might have picked a picture that was down a little lower and you had your clouds in it. So the clouds superimposed on whatever you did when you put them out.
Mm.
And that'll do it. Because I know I tried when I played with that in preparation for this presentation. I noticed that because I did that. I actually took different pictures to see how far that the program could bring everything in.
Mhm.
And I had problems like that where I just took random pictures, basically of the same thing. And it did a pretty good job in the areas that were like the green area you had, the trunks of the tree, but in the top where you're hitting the sky, you actually will have that'll superimpose, and you'll get the clouds, like you had like 3D clouds actually,
Okay.
in the picture. So you really got to take it, whatever the series of pictures, you got to take it just like that. Because I did that one time. I was taking a picture of, I was in Alaska, and I was taking a picture of whatever you call those things with the ice that moves.
Iceberg?
No, not the iceberg, but off the
Glaciers?
A glacier?
And what happened was, I figured, hey, it was the first time I ever played with this thing. So I took all these pictures, and when I got home, I just said, okay, let me just put this in, that, and the other thing. And I found there were areas that were up and down, and not the fact that it was out of sync. It was just that it was areas I had that made bulges, in the picture itself. So really got to use it in order, because I know I used to do this I used to do that in the days when they didn't have the AI. And let me just tell you, it didn't work. Okay.
No. I think because it got screwed up with my copies, I would just wipe that one out and start over again.
Yeah.
Because the times I practiced it, it came out perfectly. So I don't know what happened. Maybe there was a glitch in its processing, or because of the pictures that I chose. But I hope you'll go out and try it just to play around and see what it comes out with, and you'll get yourself some good pictures.
Diana raised her hand.
Thank you, Mark.
good.
I appreciate you recognizing my raised hand.
Now I see it.
Yeah. Okay, a couple questions. One is, when you say put the camera vertical, I was a little confused. What do you mean by that?
Instead of
Portrait mode.
instead of me holding the camera this like you normally,
Yeah,
like this way. So you're holding the camera sideways,
Vertically.
vertically.
I get confused between horizontal and vertical. Okay, so I understand that. And are you saying that this process is not in Photoshop?
No, it's absolutely in Photoshop. That's what we just showed you. Yeah, it's Photoshop elements.
Oh, elements, but what about the regular Photoshop?
It's
CC or
there,
whatever?
but it's not located under enhancements. It's located under automate. It's hidden, but it's there.
Well, wait a minute, if it's hidden, how do you find it?
You go to automate.
Auto what?
Automate. Do you use regular Photoshop?
Regular photo, what is it, CC, Bobby?
Yeah. Is that what you're using?
Yeah.
Okay, it's under automate.
Oh,
Under
it's
file,
called
Look under File, you'll see Automate, and it's in there.
Oh, okay.
Rich, have you ever tried it in regular Photoshop?
No, I haven't yet.
I wonder if it would be speedier or maybe mightn't have made the mistake or whatever. I just wondered what it.
Mhm. I don't know. I will try it just to see, because I don't use Elements. I use regular Photoshop.
Elements is really simple, to do it. If you're in a hurry,
Mhm.
it's real simple.
All right. In Lightroom, it's even faster and easier.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Flo?
Yeah, 100 years ago, I had a film camera that had a panorama setting on it,
Mhm.
and it had a line, and you lined up the first picture, and then the line would move to the left, and you could line it up. I wondered, did anybody ever check our fancy cameras that we have now? Is there such a thing to line up I'm just
Yeah,
asking,
you have it.
we have that? Because I can't figure out how you could possibly, get it exactly without some indication in the camera. I don't know how you would, when you say overlap a third.
Uh-huh. Yeah. As long as Photoshop can see the differentiation,
It'll do it.
it'll do it. It'll stitch it. And giving yourself 1/3 gives you
Even if it's
2/3
not
of the other
exactly-
picture.
Even if it's not exactly, I mean, how,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Artificial.
By the way, iPhone has this panorama thing. Have any of
Yeah,
you
it
used
does.
that?
Yeah, you're right. It does have
Yeah,
a
the
panorama
phones have it.
setting.
What?
All
I'm
our
sorry, Sam.
iPhones have a panorama setting, right?
Yeah, but when I've done it, it's sort of curves or something. It doesn't, Have you tried that, Rich?
No. No, I don't do it. The only pictures I take on my phone are things in ShopRite. Pretty much. That's what it is. The labels.
Home Depot to remember.
Does anybody here use the iPhone panorama?
Yeah, I have it. It worked out pretty well.
Did it is Sandy.
I never realized I have an Android and it has it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm using it on the Android.
So
But it
Mark,
also
what do you,
works on your the newer cameras. Just about all of them have it now. I know mine, when I look at it, it reminds me of looking through a phone. It's the same thing. You got a line straight across. And it's also really good for when you're taking pictures and you want to make sure that you're level without having to play around with it in post processing.
So where did you see that setting in your real camera or your?
Oh man, I gotta go. It goes through. It took me forever to find it, but you got to go through the different, the menus and stuff.
Menus, you mean all the different menus that are on there?
Yeah, but when you get it, it's really great because it's like if you had like your phone and you're moving it around to take a picture. Some of the newer phones have it also, where you can just get it on the screen. Once you get it up on the screen, you leave it up there, and what'll happen is you move that camera, you'll see it remaining at the level, and all you have to do on the sides, just make sure you're lined up with the two straight sides, and you're straight all the way across.
I'm gonna look.
But you got to play with it though. I remember I looked. It took me a long time, and I said, I know it's in here. It said it in the book, So
you're talking about an iPhone, Keith, or?
No, I have a Sony A7 III, and it's in that. Then your Android phones have it, and the iPhone has it also, iOS.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Sure.
We could have made panoramas today, Eileen.
Well, we can go out. Now we can go out with Sally as well, because she has a brand new camera.
What does Sally have?
I got a new camera finally.
Oh, Mazel Tov. What did you get?
The Canon, right, I keep looking at it, EOS M50.
Yeah.
Somebody had something close to it and recommended it. I think more than one person actually did, so
Well, congratulations.
Yes.
thank you very much.
Try
I
and
have to
buy
go
a
out in the
camera.
neighborhood.
You're lucky. I've had an order for a camera on now for 4 months.
Really?
4 months. What is it?
4 months.
Water.
A Nikon. They
Good.
don't exist.
Wow.
They don't exist.
Are you
Every
getting a
dealer
mir- a
will say
mirrorless?
it's in stock, and they're lying. They're waiting for shipments to come. Now, maybe they're stuck in the Suez Canal. I
Yeah,
don't.
yeah.
Water.
And, you know, it's the same, we've been looking for cars, and the Japanese cars it's very difficult to get one now. They're having problems, whatever, putting them together. I don't know
Yeah,
what.
the cars are having a big problem.
Yeah.
All of the parts and computers
Yes,
are
the parts,
there's
yes.
going to be a slowdown probably on the computers soon because the chips, people are not working in those factories and things like that. So the chips will be behind.
Try ordering a generator. I think they're
Oh, we
now,
gotta wait months and months.
yeah, I think they're booking them for November now.
Yeah.
I
What's
dare
the-
you to get a patio set.
Yeah,
Try and get something for the patio.
okay. Hey,
Yeah.
guys, I'm gonna
Yeah,
jump
do it.
on share screen again because I want to show you something, what I found.
Boy, what a
Okay.
bunch of spoiled Americans. Wow, wow. We can't get this. We have to wait.
Ooh,
Okay, this is, why are all the people on here? Let's get the gallery off. Minimize the gallery. Okay, this is the open page for Photoshop. You following me? All the way up here, File, Automate,
Oh,
and there, hidden way down below is Photo
Oh.
Merge.
oh,
That's where it
thank you.
is. And there's, if you merge to HDR Pro, whatever that is for, Nick Collection, this is where some of your collections will be hidden, but that's where Photo Merge is.
I like that one. That's cool.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was told that Photoshop doesn't work anymore with Nick. Does it work for you,
Yeah.
Rich?
Yes, it does.
Someone said, oh, get rid of it. It'll screw up everything.
No.
So
You
I
have
got
to
rid of
pay.
it.
You have to pay for it, Diana. The free for Nick does not come anymore.
No, I had it. I had the free one. But since somebody somewhere said, oh, you must get rid of it, otherwise it'll screw up everything. So I got rid of it.
Well, I paid.
The company is DxO. They want an arm and a leg.
Yeah, I know you mentioned that. You mentioned that. And I loved it. I loved that Nick. Oh,
You pay so much for these things. It's amazing.
I
well,
paid.
but we had gotten it free for a while, right? Was it
Mhm.
Harvey that
Google
found it?
had it free for a while.
Yeah, I had it. I had it for free.
I bought the original. I paid for it.
When
Bobby, you and I, $150 or so.
Google gave it away for free, and it was good in Windows 7. After after Microsoft went to Windows 10,
It's
it
gone.
went. The free stuff went.
Okay, guys, anything more we want to talk about panoramas? Any questions? Something you think you might want to try doing now? And
I think you have to try hands-on
I
and see
think you
what
have
happens.
to try
Yeah, you gotta
your
play with
just
it.
to do that. Bobby,
Yeah.
we have something else to add to our list of things that we have to do
Yeah.
as soon as the weather gets nice.
I've done some with only 4 panels and they come out nice. If you look on the Stonebridge, is it the Gazette? What's it called? The
Exchange?
Exchange?
Yeah.
Exchange.
No, on the Facebook page. If you go on the Stonebridge Facebook page, there's a picture of the clubhouse, the front of the clubhouse. That was one that I did, and I think that had 4 panels.
Oh, yeah, you showed us at the end of the presentation.
And also one of the background, let me see if I can pull up the background. How do I? It was done also. Okay. This one was done as a pano. Because, you know, if you stand in front of there, you're not going to get a real, well, you'll get a beautiful picture, but you won't get the picture that you want that has a nice mountain range and a nice field. So I stitched 3 or 4 together and came out with that. And I thought it came out really nice.
Is that really?
Mhm.
The one
That was done handheld. I didn't have a tripod for that.
That's the one in the back, your background?
Yes.
and no tripod, Good.
Yeah.
I hate tripod.
Well, it works. So it's amazing what those programs can do now.
Oh, yeah.
It grabs and it just holds
This was a jump out of the car. Give me a minute and took
it.
it. Remember it, Harv?
Yep.
Rich,
Dave
can I
DeRocha
ask-
wouldn't like you for that.
No, he wouldn't. Demerits.
I
Yes,
remember
Flo?
that yesterday.
Right?
Mhm.
Rich, I had one question, what you just said. The panel, you started with a finger, it starts here, and then an end finger, is that what you're referring to?
Yeah.
As the, you said you took like, is it vignettes, little vignettes?
Yeah.
That
it-
wasn't the word you used.
Oh, that's just a marker, just to show you where your series begins and ends. So you don't have to
Right.
go fishing through it. You look at it, you see the start and the end point, and each time you do that.
No, I
that's-
understand, but you said you took maybe 4 panels, something like that. How did you do that? How do you do that?
The same way you would do it if taking one, moving, taking it. And in this case, I think it was only 4
Uh-huh.
that covered it, like Jack is doing now. No, don't stop. You were doing well.
I know, I just wanted
But
to see what it was gonna show me.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Using your iPhone?
yeah, I just wanted for the heck of it to see what that would do.
Yeah, I never tried it.
I never use it.
really have to try
I
it.
never realized it was on here. Of course, as soon as we're done, I'm
Yeah.
going into the living room, to try it out.
Yeah.
Go around your living room, take a
Yeah.
whole panel of. It's
There you
funny,
go.
you know that little box that you showed at the beginning of your presentation? The year we went to Switzerland 100 years ago, and I had well, at the time I had a film camera, and I bought Buddy one of these panorama. He was in charge because there, of course, you really want a panorama, some of the places. And he was in charge of taking the panoramas on that little boxy gizmo.
How did he do? How did he do?
He did really well. I'm saying in that little box, it sort of lines it up for you all together.
Mhm.
So it was very easy. All he did was click, move, click, you know,
Yeah,
and it made some really beautiful pictures.
And Rich, when you say you knit it together, what do you mean? I know you talked about it, but just say one more time.
the program knits it together. And if
Oh.
you had ever tried doing this years ago with the older software, the knitting was a lot harder.
Yeah.
You had to have it exact, or the software didn't do it. It was pretty difficult. This stuff is amazing how good it works and how easily it works.
Easy.
Mm.
That
I
was-
think it's fun. Go out and try it. You
Yeah,
get
it's
nothing to lose,
challenging.
and you may get some really nice pictures. Real keepers.
Very challenging.
Well, the Timber Hill crew is going to give it a go. Anybody who wants to join us?
Yeah, but
Okay.
you know,
Your
if you use,
garbled, Bobby. I didn't hear what you said.
I said the Timber Hill crew We'll give it a go.
Sounds good.
But I think the most important thing is the preparation and making sure you end up putting it on manual. So might shoot for F8, F11. Set your ISO at 100 or 200 at the most, and do a good focus and lock it in manual, and then you should be good to go.
Well, Rich, I hope I remember how to get my camera on the tripod. The last time, it was years I hadn't used it.
Bobby, I kept the box. It gives you
Hey, Rich,
instructions.
Rich was the one who helped me to put it on there, so. But that was about 5 years ago, and I'm not sure I remember, but.
But you know, if you hand hold it and you use the, what do you call that? The little piece that you stick to the camera, so you don't have to shoot on the camera. Oh, God. The extender
remote?
that you plug into the camera.
The
so you don't
remote?
have-
The
The
remote.
remote.
Trigger?
I couldn't think of the word. If you use the remote and your hand hold it, you're not, you may not get that kind of camera shake if you hand hold the camera.
If you're holding the camera, how do you trigger it?
Well, with you're holding the camera, you trigger it. You hold the camera with that one hand and you trigger it with the other.
No.
But at least you're not pushing the camera.
No, you have an assistant, Flo.
No, but you're
Oh,
shaking,
okay.
but
And
you're
I said,
holding it and
"Shoot."
shaking it.
What's wrong with a remote control?
Yeah.
That's what I just said.
On a tripod?
No,
There
on a
are
tripod, that's
photographers that do
easy.
that.
But if you do, I'm sorry.
There are, some of the videos will tell you leave it on the tripod and also use the remote and a 2-second delay or the remote to minimize even the slightest shake of when you push the trigger. If you're holding a camera that weighs 3-4 pounds and it's got a lens of 5 pounds with one hand, trying to hold it steady,
Good luck.
good luck. And then with the other hand pushing a button
No, is it?
while you're
I
holding the
think-
camera.
I think I get camera blur, and I get it a lot. First I thought my camera was broken, but it isn't. Even when I'm holding the camera with two hands, when I move to click the button, somehow it moves. So I think I'm going to try it and see if it's any better.
Hold the remote in your mouth.
Oh, God.
But that, I think that's,
Well,
Well,
if you feel that you have your own camera shake, one of the things you can do is put it on like a 2-second delay. So at least after you push the button, you got 2 seconds for the camera to re-steady.
That's a good idea too.
Good idea.
That might be worth a try.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Rich, I have one more question. When you say manual, there's two different manuals. There's the manual on the camera where you'd say, Bobby, you're shaking your head. And then there's the other manual.
That's for the lens.
That's for the focus. Yes, you want to put that on manual too.
you gotta.
you
You
do
got
one,
to,
you gotta do the
because-
other.
Because if you have autofocus and it's when you press the button, it may be changing. So you want to leave that on manual to everything manual. You want
If you
nothing
don't have-
automatic.
If you don't have it on manual, what happens is you'll see as you move from one to the next, one shot will be darker than the other, and you'll see the steps that you had in the picture. It'll bring all of this stuff together, but when it comes to your sky is going to be dark and light as you go around.
And the camera may pick up something else to focus on, like that tree that was in not the foreground, but as close to the front in my picture, the big tree. If I'm shooting the background and everything, when it hits that tree, it may refocus on that. And we don't want that.
Let me just clarify. You have this button that says aperture, or you push it and it goes to manual. Is that what we're talking about?
That and the little button on your camera, on your lens, it says auto or manual.
Yeah.
That's the focus button.
Yes.
Mhm.
That's
If you're
what I'm
using
talking
a
about.
tripod, if you're using a tripod, take VR, the stabilization off, when using a tripod.
Mhm.
I have a question though. If you put your lens on manual, your focus on manual, you're shooting on manual, and you're on your tripod. Now, if you look at the camera, everything is all set, but then when you're going to the next space, do you have to refocus again?
No.
Even
When
though
you're
moving the
sitting on
camera?
F8 or F11, your depth of field is going to be enough that it'll take
Infinity.
everything in the view.
So the focus will stay the same, even though it's on manual focus,
That's why it'll stay the same.
but, okay.
You got to use I think what it is you got to look at infinity. When you're up around F11, F8, but mainly like F11, you're into infinity. So everything is going to come out sharp. You don't need to
I see,
focus.
I understand. Okay. Thank you.
How about a workshop on manual? Since
Diana,
some of us, including myself, is a little confused about it.
Anna, just ask me, just call me.
I know I could always ask you, Bobby. Just thought maybe somebody else would be as confused as I am.
One of them is on the lens and the other is on the camera. It's on the button that you turn, the knob. that
Yes,
Aperture priority, shutter priority. It will also have an M. And that's
right.
manual. That's
So what's the difference between the two?
one of them is about manually focusing instead of using your auto focus.
Okay,
For focusing, this is for when you shoot in aperture, it chooses the aperture for you.
right, right.
Choose the aperture, excuse me, and it chooses the shutter speed. But when you shoot on manual, you choose one, and then the others work in with it. I'll show you another time.
Yeah, I know we've done this before, but I was just,
Diana, you can come on our walk. We're gonna do panorama, we're gonna do HDR, we'll figure out the manual, all in one afternoon.
okay, sounds good to me.
Okay, guys, any
And
other
you're gonna show
questions?
me how to get it out of the box.
Oh, okay, and we'll show you how to get, you have to put your lens on your camera, don't forget.
We'll have a workshop.
Tap off.
All right, guys, any other questions?
No.
Hey, Rich, what lens did you use with this?
I have a 28 to 300, but I was
Okay.
shooting it at probably, oh gosh, I'm guessing, but I was probably shooting at maybe 150, 100 to 150 because it filled my frame the way I wanted it to.
Then an 18 to
But-
400 would work well, yeah?
Sure
Yeah, I
would.
think so.
Don't do it at the wide end. Don't use a wide angle lens or shoot at a wide end because you'll get distortion.
Yeah, pincushion.
Yep. So go from 50 to 100, whatever lens you have that goes in that range. That's a real good range to do it.
Okay.
50 to 100, F8, F11, 125, ISO 100, 200. It's a beautiful thing.
Let's hope, fingers crossed here.
I'll try it. I'll let you know.
Rich,
Okay.
is that the Grand Tetons behind you?
Yes,
Did you take that shot?
of course I did. Yes, I
I'm his
did.
witness.
Mhm.
My son's climbed
So
that.
you're
No.
not there right now.
No, that's not my backyard.
Wish, wouldn't you like to have another house out there?
I would,
Yeah.
very much so.
Better have a generator.
And it would be still buried under snow.
Yeah, probably
There
they
you go.
are.
Well, now I'm drowning in dandelions.
Right. We have those too.
Just go to Scranton, Pennsylvania. It may snow there.
As long
Yeah.
as it's drowning in debt, that's all.
Mhm. Right.
All righty,
Well,
Joe.
guys, thank you all so much for coming and your
Yep.
participation. I hope you learned something. I hope you now have an interest in at least going out and trying it because it's fun.
Yep.
And the results are good.